You know, the Israeli version of events is different. They say, yes, they did try to stop the boats, but they say that it was the people on board who attacked them first.
We were on a passenger ship carrying approximately 600 people. We had no means of reaching the Israeli Navy and their warships. I mean, we're talking about a passenger ship against a warship. It is absolutely preposterous to even assume that a passenger ship has a capability of trying to attack a warship.
Criticism. There's been widespread criticism across the board here in Israel. The morning papers talk about a fiasco on the high seas, the price of a flawed policy, 7 idiots in the cabinet. Across the Israeli press, there's a recognition that this was an operation which went badly wrong. Nonetheless, the Israeli government is defiant. It said it had to do what it did, again, as I said, because it says its soldiers came under attack.
A disaster, politically, diplomatically, for Israel.
Well, I mean, it certainly ended in a way which was entirely different to our original intentions.
We have no doubt in my mind that we were attacked, civilians, unarmed civilians were attacked in international waters. But what is more important really is we have to end the siege of Gaza, and we need our government to propose a UN Security Council resolution towards that effect.
The Israelis insist that the blockade of Gaza will continue despite the worldwide protests following the raid on a convoy trying to take aid to Gaza.
Aircraft carrying wounded protesters deported by Israel have landed in Istanbul. In the city centre, a big crowd is waiting to celebrate the arrival of all the others. There was chaos in the Israeli parliament when an MP from the country's Arab minority tried to speak. She'd been on the convoy and was released by the police yesterday. A Jewish MP was bundled up when she tried to attack her.
Israel simply cannot permit the free flow of weapons and war materials to Hamas from the sea. I would go further than that. Israel cannot permit Iran to establish a Mediterranean port a few dozen kilometers from Tel Aviv and from Jerusalem.
We were on a passenger ship carrying approximately 600 people. We had no means of reaching the Israeli Navy and their warships. I mean, we're talking about a passenger ship against a warship. It is absolutely preposterous to even assume that a passenger ship has a capability of trying to attack a warship.
Mr. Speaker, the events aboard the flotilla were very serious and have captured the world's attention. However, they should not be viewed in isolation. They arise from the unacceptable and unsustainable situation in Gaza, which is a cause of public concern here in the UK and around the world.
Then I hope that the people around the globe will work towards the ending of the siege of Gaza.
He's called the raid a massacre and a war crime. Palestinians, he said in Bethlehem, face state terrorism from Israel every day.
I'm deeply concerned that the atmosphere here in Israel, in political circles and in the general public and in much of the media, is very, very insular, jingoistic, narrowly focused, inward-looking. There's an enormous disconnect, I feel, between the way the Israelis see what they've done and see their situation and the way that the rest of the world see it. And I think this is very dangerous looking forward. Israel is shooting itself in the foot when it shoots these 9 peace activists. Now, maybe they weren't nice people, and maybe they wanted to have a dust-up with the Israeli commandos, but at the end of the day is that they're dead, and the whole world thinks that that is overkill, and that can't serve Israel's interests. Does the Israeli government understand that? I wonder.
We're open. No problem with humanitarian cargo reaching Gaza.
Hamas still have this popular support among the Palestinian people. The using of the means or the tools of siege and the blockade and sanction, it will not weaken Hamas. I think it will create kind of tension, hatred. It will not lead to the establishment of peace, security.
80% aid dependency, 44% unemployment. UNRWA has special hardship cases, people who can't afford to feed themselves and their family. Last year it was 100,000, this year it's 300,000. Poverty rates have gone up by 3-fold.
The United States supported the UN Security Council President's statement, which does use the word condemn. We obviously deeply regret the loss of life.
Now to the international dispute over Israel's deadly raid on ships carrying humanitarian aid to Gaza. 9 pro-Palestinian activists on board were killed on Monday. Nearly 700 others were detained, and today Israel deported them.
On another ship where commandos said they'd found weapons, it was pure fiction, according to a Swedish novelist who was one of the passengers.
What he showed us was this: a razor. You think now I'm crazy or that I'm lying, but I'm not. He showed me, actually, it was my razor.
Three aircraft chartered by the Turkish government brought more than 460 activists to Istanbul. Here they were greeted by a large delegation from the Turkish government, which has openly supported their mission to Gaza. There were emotional reunions with friends and family, and speeches reminding them of the ordeal they'd all shared. They joined the convoy, hoping to draw the world's attention to the plight of Gaza. In that, they succeeded beyond any of their expectations, but at a cost of 9 lives. Israel is also paying a high price, a public relations disaster, which will only continue as these activists make their way home, giving their own accounts of how they were treated.
The Hamas politicians see this whole week's events as a victory for them and a defeat for Israel. The Hamas Prime Minister Ismail Haniyeh has said as much. They see the whole aim of this flotilla and today's ship focusing attention on the blockade of Gaza tightened 3 years ago, and it has undoubtedly done that.
We condemn and reject violence, he said. We have no connection with any such organizations. This is just dirty propaganda. For the funeral of the last of the 9 killed by Israeli commandos in the raid. Responding to the public mood, the Turkish government said it was reviewing all its economic and defense deals with Israel. Grief overcame the father of the dead man, Cevdet Kiliçlar, who worked for the website of one of the groups that organized the Gaza Flotilla.